Hey guys, Scott back again with a new beer dissection video. I have another beer today from Westhampton Beach Brewing Company called Jetty4. I've reviewed some beers from Westhampton Beach. If you've watched any of those or you're familiar with the brewery, they do have a beach theme, would make sense. So you have Jetty4, Hurricane IPA, they have a great double IPA called Riptide. So they obviously have a beach theme there. And for me, they're about 5 miles down the road, give or take. And I've done some reviews. I think most recently at the filming of this video, I reviewed Hurricane IPA. So if that interests you, definitely take a look for it on my channel. So again, they're just down the road. Like I said, I've got Rich's Field around the corner. I like to do some of these local microbreweries as well as macro brews on my channel, or big beer on my channel. This one got picked up. Actually, my dad was in town visiting. I sent him out for something else. I guess it wasn't available. So he actually selected this. And I haven't had this in roughly, I don't know, a year, give or take. I know from drinking it in the past, and I like to look at the websites. I remember it's their Vienna style lager. And a Vienna, I'm not making this into a what is style like some of my other videos, but what is video, I should say, style. And Vienna lager uses typically Vienna malt. Anton Dreyer at Austria in, I think, 1841 or so had, I will say, invented Vienna malt, which is a little darker than your typical pale two-row malt. Those of you who are kind of beer geeks, Gabriel Sedlmayr was the guy who he was friends with Anton Dreyer, who kind of invented Munich malt, which is a little bit darker than Vienna malt. So I'm assuming, since this is a Vienna lager, they're using Vienna malt. It's going to be a little darker than your international pale lagers like your Heinekens and, I'm trying to think of the one jumping off my head. But it may look a little bit like the color of your Modelo and things like that. Nice kind of rich, brown to bread crusty kind of color. So again, just a few snippets about Vienna. So I'm assuming they're using Vienna malt, okay? Maybe some pale two-row. So a Vienna lager, it started again over in Austria with Anton Dreyer. Around, I think, about 40, 50 years later, it kind of pushed into Mexico and things like that. That's why you see beers like Modelo, Dos Equis, that are a little bit darker beers. And those are in that typical style. I'm expecting this is going to taste a lot better than those styles of beer. Sometimes those get skunked and things like that, but I'm not going to go into that right now with those beers. So Vienna style lager, Jetty4 from Westhampton Beach Brewing Company. Again, the can looks a little prettier. I think it's more eye-popping than I remember the other can that they used to have for this. Every day is a beach day. Like I said, they have kind of that theme to it. So check them out. All right, so what I have here is my typical kind of modified tulip Spigalo glass to try to catch, we want some surface area for the hops and everything to kind of funnel the aromatics up and then narrowing a little bit towards the top. It makes you kind of appreciate the beer a little bit better. But again, as I've always said, you can say, hey, Scott, I don't really care. I'm going to do it in my Dixie cup, my solo cup, whatever it may be. So let's crack this bad boy open, okay? Like I said, I like doing these smaller breweries because I think they're the epitome of, I've said this in a video before, the epitome of craft beer, your local farm nano brewery. Even though I like to review beers like Sam Adams and things like that, but this is kind of a treat because it's been a while that I've had this. All right, so let's pour this bad boy in here. All right. As usual these days, I'm pouring more aggressively. So, we're going to be expecting a beer, like I said, somewhere kind of a, medium to darker golder color. It's going to should have kind of a crisp taste to the malt profile, not maybe as attenuated as some of your Belgian beers, but let's take a look at it. All right. So we got kind of a nice light tan. I got more head than I would expect serving it at a brewery, okay, because I'm pouring a little more aggressively. But you get a nice light tan head, the kind of white head, pretty tight bubbles in there. The color, I apologize again. I got clean glasses. They're not sometimes beer clean. So I got some nucleation sites on there, which you don't usually want to see in when you go to the actual breweries, okay? I'm sitting here in my house, so I take some liberties or maybe take a shortcut here or there. So we've got a very clear, okay, besides my little bubbles there, kind of gold, medium gold, light gold. So pretty much spot on for the style of a Vienna lager. And again, when I say spot on for the style, if it means anything to you, the Beer Judge Certification Program has a manual. And when we learn for Cicerone and the beer judges, they have certain criteria for that. It's not a law, okay? So the brewers have free reign to do what they want. But I always like the styles guidelines because as a consumer, you know what to expect when you see it up on the board, okay? So very nice, not even really much chill haze. It's just my bubbles kind of blocking that out a little bit. You can see the sunlight going right through it. So it's pretty clear. Like I said, light to medium gold color. And that's probably coming from the Vienna malt, assuming that's what they're using. But, being a Vienna lager, most of the time they do. So I think this also uses, if I remember correctly, this is going back some time, some Cascade hops, which is a Pacific Northwest hop, can give you kind of a slightly citrusy, which is what I'm getting here. Like think of kind of a light grapefruit. Let me just stick with the aroma for a second. I get kind of like a light toast, biscuity, almost like challah bread kind of crust on there on the aroma. So going back to some of the hop aromas, you can get that slightly earthy, citrusy, grapefruit kind of aroma there. I don't get really much pine from there on some of the Pacific Northwest. I kind of get a little bit more of a citrus, light grapefruit. Okay, I'm not getting any like pine or anything. That's not a knock to it or anything. That's just, what I'm perceiving. But very nice. I mean, it's just, maybe a little spicy herbal, on the nose. Okay, so guys, cheers. Yeah, so light to medium bodied, kind of low bitterness. And Vienna lagers are usually on the low end. I forgot, I'm a little rusty on the parameters. We'll say like roughly 11, 15 IBUs. I'm going to say right now, this is going to be one of those crushable beers. It has definitely the malt backbone of just get another swig here. Light toast, like I said, bread crust, biscuit, the biscuit tops a little bit. You kind of get that like brioche, challah bread type of the crust on the top of that with the malt. Low bitterness. The mouthfeel is light to medium body at the very most. No alcoholic warmth. This one, which I wouldn't expect with a style like this, 5.8%, which is maybe just subtly higher than average, but very easy drinking. Again, I get that slight citrus grapefruit. And again, I believe that's from their Cascade hops, which is pretty common. But what's great about a beer like this is sometimes I think the market is flooded with too much of, 8-9% imperial IPAs that are like hop bombs. This is very easy drinking. It definitely has a malt backbone. There's a hop presence like the Cascade citrus, but it's not like punching you in the face. I would say this is a little bit more on the maltier side, with, again, the biscuit, light, you even want to say like a subtle like caramel toast. When you toast bread, you kind of get that a little bit on the malt profile. And again, very low bitterness. So, a very approachable beer. Beers like this kind of sent bells off in my ears that it's kind of a nice gateway beer to kind of get into craft beer. If you're someone who's a Budweiser drinker, Miller drinker, you know, maybe even like international pale lagers like Heineken, or even like, you know, your Modelo's, and you want to get into craft beer, to go to with a beer like this Jetty4 from Westhampton Beach, because, you know, sometimes you jump too much into these huge hop bombs, or, you know, even super malty beers, you know, sometimes, or like porters or imperial stouts or pastry stouts. This is a nice, refreshing beer. I would say it's definitely an upscale, a lot more malt hop aroma than your, you know, Budweisers and your Coors of the world. But if you like those type of beers, but you've tried other craft and you haven't found it appealing, this beer I think would be one definitely to go to, because it's very welcoming. So, you know, pairing with things like this, since this is very crushable, quaffable type of beer, thirst quenching, there's enough, there's not a lot of bitterness, but there is enough carbonation that, you know, I would just use this as more of a thirst quencher, having a pizza, maybe when you're at the beach, you know, subtle fare like that. But it's very nice. I would say in the world of Vienna lagers, you know, or international pale lagers, definitely a B+, A- range. You know, if that's what you're looking for. I mean, of course, if you're looking for, you go to the beer store and you're looking to be smacked in the face with a hazy hop bomb of fruit juice and things like that, this wouldn't be your beer for you. But if you want something, you know, you can throw back a few without feeling like you gotta go to bed, and you want something that is can pair well with a lot of different dishes, and you just want something that you just sit back with friends and have more than one, I would go with this, with Jetty4. So again, guys, malt, bread crust, toast, things like that. Hops, kind of a little citrus, little grapefruit, but not really that obnoxious at all. Westhampton Beach, Jetty4. Those of you on Long Island are probably very familiar with this beer. I don't know how far their footprint is. I know they have some distribution. I would definitely check it out, guys. All right? So the next beer dissection video, have a great day, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.